I'm here about to defrost this freezer. Not a very interesting or artistic topic for the afternoon play in lockdown. However, this is not a role, and I'm not acting. This is me, as I am. Real, true life. Verite, reality. Truth is, I am an actor, although at present I'm resting of sorts. Actress, if you want to be old-fashioned. You know, I haven't worked for almost 3 years, and now there's this virus thingamajig. Everything's shut down. The soaps, I've been in all of them several times. The northern ones, of course. TV classics, been there, done that, got the branded bobble hats. Theatres, been in a few. Films, done the odd ones. Don't ask me how odd. Oh, but it's finished now, I suppose. Career kaput, done, finished, retired. Character northern, over 70, with a tendency towards rudeness. The scene opens and reveals her defrosting the fucking freezer. Oh, I hate and detest domestic work of any kind. I'm not at all hands-on. I've never been a good homemaker or particularly good parent or partner. My mother used to say, before she died, "Joanna, you're just like a man." Sexist alert. But she was born in 1921, bless her. You can't even fold washing properly. But she was the one, when I was growing up, who would say, "Joanna, sit there and read a book. I don't want you doing housework." So what could she expect of me in later life? Did she think that domestic capability came over one like a kind of wireless transfer from mother to daughter? Or that a metamorphosis was enabled by a kind of domesticity gene? Oh, I'm bloody rambling to myself. Whatever myself is. Do you know, I don't know. Maybe we're all made up. I've been so many different people, both on and off stage. Yeah, made up. Do you know what I mean? No. Well, neither do I. Abstract and philosophical ramblings will not get the housework done. Avoidance technique, that's what the psychologists call it. Hey, I've a confession to make. I'm 73 and I've never defrosted a freezer before. I've never done much in that way at all. I am, like my mum said, not without a hint of jealousy, not a proper woman. Last year, my friend hung some curtains for me. I'd never hung curtains before. Well, I mean, not properly. I just throw them up, slinging the hooks anywhere, and if they're bright and colourful, that'll do for me. But the curtains that Layla hung were lovely. I look at them and they have regular pleatings and no gap down the middle. Oh, I do enjoy them. I'm glad I didn't do them though. I'd have been all fingers and thumbs. You know, I'm well known in the acting business for being crap at doing stage business. Do you know what I mean? Do you get my drift? You know, all those little things you have to do during a performance, like moving cups and chairs and curtains at the right time and in the right way. Cack-handed, they always say. No, I'm no good at doing things. Sitting monologues are my greatest joy. Thanks, Alan Bennett, and a few others. Though you still have to do some stage business. Have you ever tried lighting a cigarette while opening an envelope? An incendiary performance, the stage newspaper said. No, I'm no good at doing things. I can't dance either, so musicals have always been out. Except for one notable exception, when I wasn't required to do any jigging about, at least not on stage. No, speaking, moving in character, but dancing, no. I'm no good at doing things. And take this freezer now. Well, I've never needed to defrost a freezer before. I mean, I have moved house and lived here and there so many times. And the freezer just defrosted itself on the way out. The water dribbling all over the removal men, or the latest husband. Or on one occasion, it was a rented freezer in a rented flat, left for the next out-of-work actor tenant to do the defrosting himself. But then, when I was about age 58 or something, and I was on my own, I got a bout of postmenopausal anxiety come over me. And with the inheritance Mum had left me, and some money I'd had stashed from the divorce years before, I bought this place. And me and the freezer moved in, and we've been here ever since. And it's not needed a defrost in 16 years. I mean, why should it? Anyhow, I can't go out now, what with lockdown and what not. So I thought I'd get stuck into this freezer defrosting lark. Dig out all the hidden items buried deep within the permafrost. Oh, do you know, it is so thick with ice, you can hardly open the drawers. The other week, I had to push in 2 thick chicken breasts deep within the permafrost between huge ice columns. It was like, oh, I can't think of a suitable simile, unless it's something to do with gay snowmen at a naturist women's party. Oh, my bonkers brain. Still, it has got me some work now and then. Oh, anyhow, I better have a go at trying to chip away at this. Oh, it's hardly slicing anything off at all. This is going to take till midnight next week. Oh, have I turned it off? Oh, you daft brat, Joanna. Even an undomesticated woman like yourself can turn off a freezer. Oh, listen to that. Silence. Isn't it lovely? Oh. Boom, 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 Bum, 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 bum. They say old memories don't die. I was just starting to relive that lovely year with dear, dear, sweet Patrick Gordon. But it'll not get the freezer defrosted. And he's definitely deceased after that accident in Damned Wusters, the stage musical. God rest his gorgeousness. What a chest he had! Come on. Oh, you'd think now it was switched off. Something had been happening. This is hard work with no results. You think it had been melting and melting quickly. Oh, I can hear my husband Nigel saying, "Oh, Joanna, get your feet on the ground. You're always in some other world." I suppose it will take some time, as the bishop said to the actress. Do you know, I often wonder if ye oldie actress and bishop jokes are now off limits, out of bounds, politically incorrect. I do hope not, because I do love the old ecclesiastical and the showgirl. They were my dad's favourites. And it's amazing how often you can just pop it in, as the actress said. The hairdryer! Why didn't I think of that before? Hey, you're not so daft after all, Joanna. Fuckers away! Hairdryer attack! Hey, I say, do you know the story about Laurence Olivier, Michael Redgrave, and the hairdryer? No? Neither do I! Boom! Bum 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 bum. Oh, it's starting to get nice and slippy now. As the bishop said, bum bum bum. Ooh, peas. Very old and unopened. I won't even eat frozen veg now. I like fresh veg. I know. I bought them for that twisted ankle I had ages ago. And chips. I don't eat chips. It's probably why they're stashed in the back. Oh, well, peas out. And chips out. Peas prehistoric. Chips antediluvian. Now, where shall we put them? There only used to be one place for everything back then, as the bishop said. Oh, green bin. Effing bumblebees. Holy Moses. What did I used to use that for? Do you know, I can't even remember his name. He played Inspector Ruff. Gerald something. We were in Gaslight together. I was the housekeeper. Well, I won't be needing that anymore. That's for certain. Bum, 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 bum. Soggy paper. Oh. Act 2 of She Stoops to Conquer, wrapped around meatballs. Rehearsal notes on the back of my decree nisi for the final and last time from my very last husband, Nigel. That was 2 decades ago. I must have been keeping it for scrap. Oh, they do say the dinosaurs are surfacing from under the ice. Oh, I must have a cup of tea soon. It's equity rules that. 1 cup of tea every 2 hours. Anyhow, I'll do a bit more. Bum, 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 bum. There's that chicken, you know, that I was telling you about, but there's something behind it. Oh my God, it's beef. Oh, that must have a bus pass, all right. It must be from before the virus, from before Brexit and Trump. It's before mobile phones took photos. Oh, I don't even like beef now. I try to stay veggie with a bit of chicken. Oh, but that 14-year-old brisket, no, not even organic, definitely green bin for you. Oh, I don't know. And what's this? A neck brace. I had a lot of mishaps back then. I must have been having too much fun. I've been keeping too much on ice. Anyhow, it's melting now. Oh, that too solid flesh would melt, thaw, resolve itself into a dew. Oh, do you know, I always wanted to play Hamlet. I wouldn't have been the first woman or the last. Still, all gone and forgotten now. So, let the waters flow. Yes, I'll go and have a cup of tea and let it do its own thing. Though on second thoughts, I might have a lie down and see if Patrick Gordon tags along. Well, I think I nodded off for 5 minutes, but Patrick didn't show up. Pity that. Oh, he was a good un. Shame he had to go that way. So sudden. Harnesses, ropes, pulleys. What caused it? No one knew. The stagehands blamed each other, and the director disappeared. I was devastated. No one really knew how much, because we kept our little trysts under wraps, what with him being married to Miss Big Cheese comedienne, you know, her that everybody adored. And they thought she was real northern and therefore had to be very funny. Oh, and by definition was nice as well. What a cow she actually was. She treated Patrick like the doorman. No, like the door itself. I'm going to push you when I want you to go and where I want you to go. That was her motto. And he was so nice. He was really nice, was Patrick. He just smiled and got on with it. And he was 1,000 times better at what he did than her with her bloody banjo and harmonica taking the piss out of real northern people. She called herself a feminist as well. Oh, very true. If a feminist is someone who just treats their husband like a piece of shite. I really loved Patrick. He said he loved me too. I believed him when he said that. It wasn't just an on-talk quickie. Neither of us were up for that. We could have made it permanent if he'd had the courage to leave her. Not that we ever really talked about that. Not really. It was after I'd left Nigel, my husband of 20 years, that I met Patrick. Nigel was the second one. My first husband, well, he'd only lasted about 8 months when I was only a teenager, really. Vincent, gay, as it turned out. Although we didn't have that word back then. Well, we didn't have any word. We just kind of knew without knowing what we knew. I knew, in a funny way, before I married him even. But it didn't stop me, because that's what you did back then. You got married. He thought the same. Funnily enough, he rang me about 2 weeks ago, out of the blue. I have not seen or heard of him for about 50 years. Oh, he was lonely, poor soul. His friend had died. Well, his husband, Herbert. They'd been together for decades, worked together as well, it seems, been buyers for Harrods or Liberties or one of those places. He was ringing everyone he'd ever known for a little chat. He had not seen a soul since lockdown began. Oh, poor old sod. He got my number from off the net. I don't know how. Oh, I didn't know what to say to him. I just rambled about garden birds and defrosting that old freezer, which really should be chucked away. But we agreed that our divorce was the best thing that could have happened to either of us. It's funny how things turn out. After me and Vincent had split in '65, he went down to London, and I took the plunge and did what I'd always really wanted to do. I got into the theatre. Oh, you could do that back then. You could just turn up and ask for a job. Anyhow, St. Anne's-on-Sea Repertory Theatre. Assistant stage manager, unpaid. Only after I'd broken the prop teapot and set the leading man's wig on fire, they kindly decided I might be better just saying 2 lines as Elsie from Rachel Reach's Riches and do a bit of prompting as well. And then I'd be kept out of harm's way. I mean, I was fortunate they didn't sack me. But the director had taken a shine to me. And he saved money on a real actress. And he got to pinch me bottom now and then. After a while, I got some bigger parts and some cash. And I met Nigel, who was in Dial M for Murder. He explained to me all about the gay stuff and why my marriage hadn't worked. He said it shouldn't be illegal. It's quite natural for some people. I said, well, that makes sense. and he laughed at how stupid I'd been. Oh, he was all right, was Nigel. I can say that now. He showed me the world. He taught me all about the business. He showed me a good time too. We had some happy years together, until the male menopause kicked in, and gold jewellery, which was not his style at all, was hung, festooned and pierced all over his body. He was all right, until he wasn't. It was while we were at St Anne's, he got me an introduction to Douglas at Granada, and that's how I came to do the big one for almost 2 years. Oh, great times. Still nothing lasts. Anyhow, tuck it and fuck it, I must get on with that freezer. A bit more knife and hairdryer should do the trick. And no, that is not an actress and bishop. Not unless they were into 50 Shades of something very weird. Nigel was, like his name suggests, posh. Everyone was posh in the theatre back then, even if you'd started out as rough as a bear's arse, as me dad would have said. But if you did, you had to learn to speak properly. Me too. Fortunately, my mother had sent me for elocution lessons after school during the 50s. That's how I got interested in acting. Oh, it was all the rage back then. Every little girl practicing her vowel sounds and reciting poetry and Shakespeare for the Poetry Lovers Festival or some such thing. Oh, parents had high hopes of their little darlings in those heady days back then, and hopes depended on how you spoke. So I could drop into RP, or posh, if you prefer, whenever I wanted. Otherwise, they wouldn't have touched me with a barge pole at St Anne's. It was only later, towards the end of the 70s, that loads of TV work came up north, and it became northern obligatory all the way, that I then fell back into these flat sounds permanently. It was easy somehow. Even at home with Nige, I dropped the poshness and returned to type. Nigel liked it at first. He said, "Oh, it's like fucking the girl from the checkout. Say that again." I gave him fantasies that were not appropriate for a member of the Labour Party. But soon he began to get bored with playing Fred to my Fanny, and then he got to hate it. But for me, there was no going back. I was more relaxed. "Oh, Joanna, do speak properly. You're just doing it to annoy me." Our twin boys are just as posh as him, and having gone on to RADA, they're not going to turn out as northern e-by-gummers like me anytime soon. Anyway, that was the thin end of the wedge, that was. What with the vowel sounds and then me putting on weight, when I was doing that recurring role where I was eating all the time in the corner shop, Nigel, he ran off with a slender young thing. granddaughter of the Earl of somewhere, with a crumbling seat in Scotland. I didn't blame him. I was always away. Oh, I was far more interested in the acting profession than he'd ever been. We've stayed friends because of the boys. Speak on the phone now and then. And when we do, I put on the posh. Hello, Nige, how's things? He's got 3 more children now who he adores. Gave up acting, owns golf courses, and is raking it in by all accounts. And here's me, living on my own, up the road from Media City, with no work, not even for a characterful and experienced over 70, who'll have to continue to pay for a TV licence, let alone appear on the bugger. Though I am still getting repeat fees for loads of old stuff that I made years ago that keeps popping up on screens worldwide. Sometimes I imagine a slum dweller in Mumbai watching me, age 22 and very thin, in Z-cars, or on a TV screen in a cafe in Buenos Aires, with me full fat 90s face, in the close, shouting, "Hey, what you doing, la?" What do all these people make of it, I wonder? Anyhow, defrosting's in my contract for today. Oh, fuck it, I'll leave it. Leave it till the morning. Why am I killing myself? I think it's boredom, maybe. Or perhaps enjoying twittering about the past, which is not my bag normally. I like to stay in the present, be fully engaged. I wonder what's on Netflix. Hey, a nice piece of chocolate cake and a glass of cranberry juice. That would be lovely. I gave up drinking after Patrick. It was the whiskey that did for him, you know. It wasn't concentrating. You should never drink before a performance. She drove him to it, though. Funny how everything changes. Changeless change. That's what the Buddhists say. I guess it's true. Everything changes. And yet, in a funny way, nothing does. Have you heard about what's her name and her pussy? You remember that series in the 70s? It was all the rage, where they were always talking about somebody's pussy. Everyone loved that programme. They sold it on to America in the end, and they loved it there for years. Until somebody, quite by chance, found out that pussy had 2 meanings. It didn't always mean a cat. And they banned it on the grounds of obscenity. That was before the Donald had informed everybody, of course. But what were they all laughing about in the meantime? I ask you. I never did that programme. But Nigel was in one episode, playing a man who'd lost his trousers on the underground. I could never get my head round that. But he said, oh, it all makes sense within the terms of the world of the drama. I thought, crap! How can you lose your trousers on the underground? but we needed the money, so why quibble? I know not everyone, not in the business, realises that we actors aren't all rich. In fact, we're lucky if we get 3 jobs a year. And then we have to fill in with other stuff. Oh, even Nigel did his fair share of helping his mates sell cars. And I sold timeshare for a while on the phone. Oh, but I got to think it was a bit dishonest. So I changed to shady instead. And I started to do sexy voices for lonely men. Oh, I didn't speak to them directly. Oh no, that would have been too much. Oh no, it was all recorded in a studio. And the men rang in on a premium rate and listened until, well, whatever. You get my drift, Yes, we women were all on a loop, you know. Oh, I didn't take any clothes off. No, just voice. It suited me. I did it under a pseudonym. I'm not going to tell you what it was. No. It was like acting, really. Well, actually, it was acting. You know, little scenarios about French maids and all that. Sort of, oh la la, monsieur, something is coming between us. Oh, it was so innocent back then. Not like now. Now, the double entendre is thoroughly dead, along with the actress and the bishop. It's all out in the open now, as the actress did say. Sometimes I watch those old carry-on films, you know, with more double meanings in them than you can count, and I really enjoy them. And Patrick told me he'd been in one, doing a guest appearance as an arsing about Nubian slave. Only he had red hair. Perhaps they were out of Nubians. You know, nobody cared about racial equality back then. It was terrible, really. Still, I do enjoy them. And when I watch them, I think, there was I on stage in Sheffield, playing in Peer Gynt for a pittance, when I could have been farting around a pine wood, you know, in carry on at your convenience with all the fun guys. Not that they made much money out of it in the end either. Of course, it's not all about money. It's about completing the task in hand. That's what I was told when I started out. Oh, someone at the door? Nobody ever calls now. I mean, my boys ring me twice a week, as do other old friends. But no one ever calls. Have I ordered something? I don't think so. Leave it on the doorstep, like the sign says. Thank you. Very interesting. Oh, what's this? Oh. Oh, lovely. Oh. Oh. Thanks for being so good on the phone, dear. Just a little present for you. Also, will you mail to this address and arrange the best time for the delivery of your other gift? The guys will do it all and will be wearing masks. And will take your old one away. You're getting a top-of-the-range new freezer. Will arrive in about a week. If it's too big or the wrong shape, as the bishop said, you did cheer me up on the phone with that. Just ask for a smaller one or another model when you mail them. Now you can put your feet up and forget about defrosting the old one you told me about. With warm wishes, Vincent. Oh. Well, one thing's for certain. When the guys carry out this old one, they'll have no water dribbling down their legs, that's for sure. Because I'll have defrosted the fucker.